They called her a monster, a weapon of death and the end of worlds. For years, her name made even the bravest warriors pause. Rixora, the last living dragon of the war, once turned cities into ash and starships into fire. But in the end, it was not a weapon that broke her. It was not a gun or a trap. It was the soft touch of a little human boy, his kindness stronger than any chain. Rixora, the dragon of flame and terror, had been captured after the war ended. She was brought to the Council Fortress on planet Akron 7, locked deep in a metal valley surrounded by force fields and guards. She no longer roared. She no longer flew. Her wings were bound, her mouth muzzled, and her golden eyes filled with silence. Aliens from many species came to see her. Some wanted her destroyed. Others feared her too much to even speak her name aloud. The council met every day to argue her fate. Some called her a beast. Some called her a victim. But no one could decide. She destroyed entire cities. One ambassador yelled. She was forced to, another replied. She's a weapon, not a villain. She's still dangerous. She's still alive. In the middle of these loud voices and cold decisions, a small ship arrived. It carried human peacekeepers. Among them was a woman named Sarah Lim, a communication officer and widow of a soldier who died in the Dragon War. With her was her only son, Jiho, just 6 years old. Jiho was a quiet boy. He didn't speak much since his father died. He never smiled. He just held his stuffed rabbit close and followed his mother wherever she went. When Sarah entered the observation deck overlooking the dragon's prison, Jiho followed. Others were scared to even look at the chained creature below, but Jiho walked straight to the glass wall and stood there staring down. He didn't look afraid. He didn't cry or ask questions. He simply pressed both hands to the cold glass. "She's sad," he said in a soft voice. Sarah turned. "What, Jiho?" "The dragon. She's not angry. She's lonely." "Jiho," Sarah whispered, not knowing what to say. "She's not like us." But Jiho didn't move. His eyes stayed locked on Rixora's still body, her slow breathing, her closed wings. In his young heart, something stirred. He didn't understand war. He didn't understand death. But he understood pain, and he saw it in the dragon. Rixora, far below, slowly turned her head. Her golden eyes opened, and for just a second they met his. She didn't growl, she didn't move. But something in her eyes changed. Jiho smiled. Just a little. No one noticed. Not yet. The council kept talking. The guards stood watch, but in that moment, a boy and a dragon, two survivors of war, saw each other, not as enemies, not as monsters, but as souls left behind, and that was the beginning of everything. No one expected the boy to return, but Jiho did. He asked his mother the next day, "Can we see the dragon again?" Sarah frowned. "Why? Are you afraid?" Jiho shook his head. "She's still sad." Sarah didn't know what to say. She was busy, always called to council meetings. The guard said no one could go near the dragon, not even adults. But Jiho didn't forget. The next morning, while everyone prepared for a council meeting, Jiho slipped away. He remembered the map he saw on a screen. He remembered which hallway led to the lower gates. He walked with quiet steps, holding his stuffed rabbit tight. The guards didn't see him. They didn't expect a child to come from the council deck. Jiho was small, silent, careful. He moved, past the scanners and security bots like a shadow. The door to the Dragon's Valley was half open. Jiho stepped inside. The air was cold. The wind blew slowly across the steel floor. Rixora lay still in the middle of the valley, her giant body like a mountain. Her chains held her tight. Her muzzle was locked. Her wings were closed, but she opened her eyes. She saw him. Jiho walked slowly down the path. His heart beat fast, but he didn't stop. His small feet echoed across the stone. The dragon's eyes followed him, glowing softly like two suns behind clouds. The guards saw him too late. Wait, what is that? A child? Stop him. He's walking straight toward the dragon. Alarms went off, lights flashed red, and voices shouted, but Jiho kept walking. Rixora did not move. Her eyes watched the boy like she was trying to remember something. Something from long ago. Jiho stopped in front of her. Her head was huge, the size of a tank. Her muzzle covered her mouth, but her nose was bare. Her breath came out warm and deep. Jiho reached up. He stood on tiptoe and he kissed her nose. A soft kiss. A child's kiss. Full of nothing but pure feeling. The alarms stopped. The guards froze. The council cameras zoomed in, and Rixora closed her eyes. She did not roar. She did not pull her chains. She let out a soft, deep breath. A sound that wasn't anger. It was peace. Jiho turned around and said, "She's not angry. She's just tired." No one moved. No one spoke. The deadliest dragon in the galaxy had just let a human child kiss her face. Jiho sat down on the floor, right next to her nose. He held his stuffed rabbit and leaned against her cheek. Rixora blinked. She shifted just a little, her head moving, closer, her giant eye watching the child. Then she closed her eye again. The guards arrived a few minutes later, slow and careful, but they didn't pull Jiho away. Sarah came running, crying, holding her son tightly. "You could have died," she shouted. Jiho just looked up at her. "She didn't want to hurt me. I could feel it." News of the moment spread fast. The video was shared across planets. Species who once feared Rixora now watched the quiet clip of a boy's kindness. The council called an emergency meeting. Some were angry. Some were amazed. But the dragon had not moved. She had not harmed the child. And that changed everything. For the first time, the question was no longer, how dangerous is she? Now the question was, what if she's not a monster after all? After the day Jiho kissed Rixora, nothing was the same. The council was divided. Some were still afraid. Others were curious. "She let a child touch her," said one alien leader. "She didn't attack. Maybe she's not just a weapon." "She's dangerous," another argued. "What if she's only calm for now?" But the video had already changed minds. Across the stars, beings of all kinds watched the soft moment again and again. The boy's small hands, the dragon's stillness, that gentle kiss. The council made a new rule. Jiho could visit Rixora, but only with guards nearby and only for a short time each day. Sarah didn't like it. She feared for her son. But Jiho's eyes were bright again. For the first time since his father died, he smiled. And so each day Jiho went down into the valley. Rixora waited. She didn't speak. She didn't move much. But when she saw Jiho, her golden eyes softened. She blinked slowly, the way animals do when they trust. Jiho would sit on a rock near her nose. Sometimes he brought books. He couldn't read all the words, but he liked the sound of them. And Rixora listened. She would breathe slowly, a soft hum in her chest, as if the words were music. One day Jiho said, "Do you know what this story is about?" Rixora said nothing, of course. "It's about a big bear who lost her cubs," Jiho continued. "But then she found a new family, not the same, but still love." Rixora's nostrils flared. She turned her head a little. Her scales shimmered in the light. She blinked once, slowly. Jiho smiled. "I think you were lonely too." He placed the book down and touched one of her chains. "I don't like these." The guards tensed, but Rixora didn't move. Jiho looked up at the tall towers above. "Everyone's scared of you, but I'm not." That night, Sarah asked, "Why do you keep visiting her?" Jiho answered, "Because no one else does." The next morning, something strange happened. As Jiho read his story, Rixora moved her tail. Slowly, carefully. She curled it around the rock he sat on, like a shield. Gasps came from the watchers. The guards raised their weapons, but did not fire. Jiho looked at her. "Are you protecting me?" Rixora blinked again. The rumble in her chest was low, soft, like a giant purring. Jiho laughed. You're like a big cat, a big fire-breathing cat. The video went viral again. This time it showed Rixora moving, not with violence but care, gentle, watching the boy, keeping him safe. One alien scientist said, "She's bonding." Another asked, "Are we seeing the first signs of healing?" Soon, messages poured in from across the galaxy. People wanted to understand her, not destroy her. The council created a new title, the Dragon Program. A test. Could Rixora be studied and trusted? Some were still afraid, but others believed. And Jiho, he kept visiting. He told her jokes. He drew pictures in the dirt. He gave her small gifts, a blanket, a toy, even a music box that played soft notes. And Rixora listened, watched, protected. She never spoke. But sometimes when Jiho sat quietly beside her, she would close her eyes and breathe a warm wind across his face. It felt like a hug. The deadliest dragon in the galaxy, once a weapon of war, now sat beside a human child and listened to bedtime stories. And slowly, heart by heart, the galaxy began to change. It had been 2 months since Jiho first kissed the dragon's nose. Now the whole galaxy was watching. Rixora was no longer just a weapon. She had become a mystery, a question no one could ignore. Can something made for war become something else? Jiho visited her every day. He brought her new books, new stories, and sometimes just silence. They didn't always need words. Sometimes he would lie down beside her snout and she would close her eyes. They simply breathed together. The guards, once nervous, now stood calmly. Even they had started to trust the dragon. But not everyone believed. One night, someone broke into the valley. A tall alien, masked and silent, holding a toxin blade. The goal was simple: kill the dragon before the council made their final vote. But what the attacker didn't expect was Jiho. He had stayed, late that evening, reading his favorite story to Rixora under the soft lights of the dome. The assassin raised the blade. He stepped closer. Rixora's golden eyes snapped open. She saw the danger before anyone else. In a flash, she moved. The sound was like thunder, chains breaking, stone cracking. Her tail swept in front of Jiho, pulling him behind her massive body. Her wings rose high and sharp. The assassin lunged, but Rixora roared. It wasn't a roar of anger. It was something deeper, protective. A sound that shook the glass towers and echoed across Akron 7. Guards ran in. They found Rixora curled tightly around Jiho, her chest rising fast, her eyes wide with fire. The attacker lay unconscious near the edge. Sarah rushed to the valley. Jiho looked up from within the curve of the dragon's claws. "She saved me." The next day, the footage went everywhere. The council watched in silence. "She chose to protect," one leader said. "She did not kill the attacker. She guarded the child." "She is still dangerous," said another. "But now she is something else too," replied a third. "She is more than a weapon." The final vote was cast. Rixora would not be executed. She would remain on Akron 7. Her chains would stay for now, but she would live freely inside the valley. Visitors would be allowed, but only after tests and peace training. The first name on the approved list was Jiho Lim. Months passed. The galaxy moved toward peace, and in the valley a strange friendship continued. Jiho brought new music. Rixora learned to hum with it. He painted pictures on her claws. She kept still so he could finish. She let him nap against her side when he was tired, and slowly her fire became soft. Not gone, but warm. The dragon who once burned cities now guarded a child, and in doing so she healed more than herself. She gave hope. The galaxy feared Rixora, but one small act, a simple kiss, changed everything. Can kindness rewrite history? Can even a weapon learn love? If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional and powerful HFY tales from the stars. Would you risk everything to trust something others fear? Do you think Rixora really changed? Or was she never a monster to begin with? What can we learn from Jiho's courage and kindness? If you had one moment to show mercy, would you take it?